All right, we're going to do a lab over comparing the concentrations of saturated solutions. So as I go through this lab, you'll fill out your data table and you have to go back and answer all the blue questions and 7 through 12. So here's what the notes look like in the lab. These are attached on Canvas. We're only going to do one of these columns just to save a little bit of time. We'll show you how to work your way through this. But you'll be responsible for knowing this for the quiz. So what it tells you to do, and we're going to adjust this a little bit, is it says to put 5 grams of 2 solids in 2 test tubes, each containing 10 cubic centimeters of water. Well, we're not going to waste 5 total grams or 10 total grams of substances like it says here. We're going to use 5. So I've got a weighing dish, and all that we're going to do is salt. The mass of this weighing dish is about a little bit less than a gram. So I'm going to move the writers over to a little bit less than 6 grams. We're going to add salt to it until it balances. Close enough. And we're going to put that into a test tube. And we also need to put 5 cubic centimeters of water in the test tube as well. And it says shake it until you have a saturated solution. Well, I've already got one that I've shook up for several minutes to make a saturated solution. So let me grab my pencil. And some safety glasses. And so after you have the solution all shook up, let's figure out the mass of the evaporating dish. So here's the evaporating dish right here. We're going to put it on here. It's not 100. It's 20-something grams. And it looks to me like it's about 21, almost 21.1. So we're going to call it 21.09. So that's what we'll put here. 21.09 grams. And then it tells you to put just the liquid that's in the test tube into the evaporating dish. So I'm going to try to get some of the salt off the side of this. And we'll pour just the liquid in there. And if we leave some behind, I'd rather leave some solid behind, because if you get solid in there, it ends up making you think you have a higher concentration than what you end up having. So let's figure out the mass of the evaporating dish in solution. It looks like it's, I'll show it to you, 25.55 is what I'm going to call it. So those are the two numbers you should have so far. And so then we want to take this evaporating dish and evaporate away all the liquid and figure out what the mass of the evaporating dish in solid ends up being. So let's light this. Let's evaporate that away. And it's going to take a couple minutes. But while we're waiting for that to heat up, we can figure out what the mass of the solution is by taking the mass of the evaporating dish in solution minus the mass of the evaporating dish. So 25.55 minus 21.09 gives us 4.46. So that's going to go right here. 4.46 grams is the mass of the solution. And so let's look and see what it's doing here. It's just boiling. If it starts to go too fast, we're going to move it away, but I think it's okay. So you can see all the solid left at the bottom of that. We're going to try to keep from splashing out because every little bit that splashes out is going to be an error. And we want to get it to a powdery white solid. That's how we know that all the water's gone. If it looks pasty, that means there's still water in there. But at the expense of getting it dry, we're probably going to end up with some of that salt splattering out. And I would say that's very close. So we're going to turn off the burner. Let me get some tongs. We'll move this over here and figure out the mass of the evaporating dish and the solid. And it's about 22.11 is what I'm going to call it. So mass of evaporating dish and solid, 22.11. So to find the mass of the solid, we're going to subtract this from the evaporating dish. So 22.11 minus 21.09 is 1.02. The mass of the solution is 4.46. The solution is the water and the solid together. They want to know what the mass of the water is. All we have to do is take the solution minus the solid. So 4.46 minus 1.02 is 3.44. That's the mass of the water. We know the density of water is 1, so the volume of water is also 3.44. And to find the solubility, which is what this is here, we're going to take the mass of solid, 1.02, divided by the volume of water, 3.44, times 100, and you get 29.65. Call it 29.7 grams per 100 cubic centimeters. The actual value should be about 34, so we're pretty close to what it should be. So you need to go back through and submit to get the 10 points. Submit the answers to all of these blue questions and 7 through 12.